pieces, and I'm getting ready to take up the carpet. Soon, these plywood floors are going to go away, and this is going to look a lot different when there's new flooring in. So we're finally down to our little transition piece here to separate where the wood turns into the metal car body or a vehicle body. So I chose not to stretch that just because I'm sure it's going to separate and bend and all those good things as we drive. So this is fairly simple if you're doing this, and this works for home too. But these little moldings for this vinyl, if you just see here, you'd run the little track here right in between the two pieces of flooring, whether it's your vinyl or tile or whatever it might be, and then you put these two little channels into those two little channels. It's very simple. And then I always use just a rubber mallet and tap it down, and once you do it, they're in there pretty tight. So with this one, I just had to nip the edge off a little bit so that I could overlap the floor right there. And I took a little bit off the other side too, which you'll see in a second. So I nipped a little bite off of there so that that'll go in and just give me what I need. So basically you just get it in place, and then with the little mallet you just tap it down. I'm doing it one-handed, which is not ideal. You'll want to use two hands. That's the best way to do it. And then basically you just make sure you get it in place there and just give it a little tap, and it's in there pretty tight. And then you just work your way all the way down, and you're good. There it is, a nice new little transition piece there. It just kind of blends right in and hides the transition, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. And then over here, just all I bought were some cheap little plastic pieces, because typically you don't have to paint these as much. They just don't warp. They're a little easier to work with, for me anyway, in my opinion. And just cut these guys. I haven't glued them in or nailed them in yet. You're gonna have a hard time nailing them in, these little baseboards, because as far as I know, there's a metal piece that goes along there. So the nails aren't really working, so I'll probably just put a dab of liquid nail on there is what I'll do. And just nail these guys up, but then it'll at least trim it up and make it look a lot nicer and, give it a real homey look. It keeps falling off. It's really frustrating, but once it glues on, it'll be fine. It's not going anywhere. But I've got to put a stair nose on this guy. So I've already done a stair nose on this little piece down here. That's our stairway entry. This is going to be a little stair nose of the same stuff, this golden acacia, and just run a little border around here, cut it at a 45, and just run it on down this way. So let me do that real quick, dab it on with some liquid nail and see how it looks. I'm using a little heavy-duty liquid nails here. I am not sponsored by them, but I'm using their product, which is pretty awesome for this. Basically, you just give your stair nose piece a good coat of liquid nail, pop her in place, hold her down for a couple seconds, and you've got a pretty good hold there. It's really hard to match these up, at least it was for me. I'm sure there are people who can do it a lot better than me out there. These pieces are, because they're round, it's kind of hard to lay them and get a really good angle. It's like a slight, it's hard to see it here, but slight bend on it. It's not quite 90 degrees, but it's good enough. I took a brown marker and covered those white ends up so you don't really see the edges too much unless you really look hard. But it's not perfect, but it's good enough. Let's put some of that liquid nail on and see how it goes. So you don't want to use too much. I like to run a bead down the inside corner. You don't want to use too much because you don't want it to squish out all over your floor. And I like to run a nice line down right on the edge here. Alright, so the trick is, once you've got your liquid nail all over this thing, you kind of want to lay it down in the front like this and then slide it back. If you start pushing back too far, you're going to get residue from the liquid nails on here, but right now as it stands, you don't really see any. So just hold it down for a few seconds, get it in its spot that you want it to be, and this stuff in a few minutes will give a really hard hold, and should withstand most of the wear and tear you put on this thing, unless you're just really rough. And now for the final piece, we got a little 45-degree angle here. We're gonna put some glue on and pop her right in there. So let's do this last piece here. Give it a nice bead on that inside corner there. And then another bead right on this little outside part here. All right, I flip her over. And these corners are tight, so they gotta just go in. There we go. Snap it on in there. Set it up now. Make sure you check your corners. Any little goop that comes out in the back, you know, just take a rag and wipe it. It's no big deal. It comes right off. Just get it before it dries. That little bit of water takes this right off. But there we go. And let this dry overnight. It's typically what I do. And it'll be nice and solid in the morning. Let me show you the final product now, what we've got here. So this battery compartment, I went ahead and put this different style of floor in. It's like looks like a rusted metal, which we're really happy with. It's different than the wood that we used in the rest of the RV. But this rusted metal look, we basically took off this battery cover. I totally cleaned out the battery area, put some new batteries in, spray painted this area here, and then just laid the floors right on top of it and glued them down. So I didn't let these float. I glued them to the side, and I glued them down to this piece of plywood that's used here. But I like the way this battery compartment looks. It looks different than the rest. It kind of stands out. And then here's the border on top that I was able to lay in there just to end it well and make it look nice. And while I'm at it, I wanted to show you this area over here. So this is going to be Amy and myself. This is going to be our bed. I was going to do a whole video on this and how we set it up, and maybe I will, but for now I just wanted to show you what we did with the slide out. We laid the same floors on top of the slide out, put in a border there, and then underneath we took, because the bed that we're planning on using, we bought this from IKEA. You can see here, it's a fold-out bed, but it's not a typical sofa bed. It folds out a different way, and I'll show you later, but much more comfortable. But because of it, the base is longer and wider than the actual slide out. So that was our big problem there. We got rid of the old jackknife couch that was here. But what I did was I bolted down this 2x4 to the slide, and then bolted down the bed on top of it. So I did it there, and I also did a little bit further down there. But that's how we finished this area, and we have the bed in place now and hidden from view, and we're really happy with it. And then I went out and I bought these cast iron floor registers. A little bit dusty right now, but they're really solid and really dense, and I really like how they look in this floor. I also took the little hooks that go in the floor for the slide out that they go into when you close it up and take off on a road trip. I took these out, cleaned them really well, spray painted them, so now they have a nice new glossy look. It's a little bit dusty. Should have vacuumed it before I filmed. But I think I can finally pronounce that this floor is done. So I'm pretty happy with how these floors turned out. It was a lot of work. It's not like flooring a house. It's a little bit different. This thing moves, it bobs, and it sways when you're driving it. It swells because of the heat. There's moisture in here, so be very careful what kind of floors you get if you're going to redo floors in an RV. Highly recommend you do your research and find the right kind of material that works. But we are happy with this. It took a long time, a lot of work, but it was really needed if you remember what this looked like at the beginning. So happy to announce that it is finally done, and we're moving on to some other projects. The next few videos that we're going to post will be of our bedroom makeover in the back. We've done a ton of work back there, and I'm excited to show that video. We redid our bathroom. We're redoing our whole dinette area. rebuilding a whole table and a whole booth seating scenario that we've got set up there, which is pretty cool. But we've got a lot of videos to post, a lot of work still to go on this thing. And the exterior, I haven't even gotten to that yet. Lots more videos, lots more content. We would love it if you could watch our videos. Leave some comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe, thumbs up, do all that good stuff. We love to interact with you guys, and we'd love for you to watch all the stuff that we're putting out there. So until next time, thank you for watching 10,000 Roads, and we'll see you soon.